If anybody in Texas thinks that we have an energy shortage in this hot summer, they have not been to the Manor ISD. I think we could air condition and fuel all of Texas on the energy that comes from this room. I have been to many schools all across the country, and I have been in many gymnasiums that were this excited, but never without the students. It was always the students. Today, it's the teachers and the staff and the administrators. What an amazing thing. Congratulations on being part of this great district. I want to thank Amber Cortez for inviting me, and the Superintendent Avery was present when I spoke to the National Association. I also want to tell you how impressed I am with Dr. Moser. I don't know whether you saw the moves that he had up here on the stage. Pretty good. Board Chair Marlon Thomas, thank you for your leadership, and the other members of the school board. And all of you here, district staff, administrators, principals, coaches, support staff, and especially the teachers, all of you 1,300 strong here today. Congratulations on this matter. I would like to ask those who are new to the district, if we could see those who are teachers for the first time. I can imagine the anxiety of leaving school, coming to teach for the first time, and some of you maybe have been teaching before but are new to the district. If I could just ask the new teachers and new staff to please stand, those who are starting this September. Let's welcome them to this district. Glad to have you aboard. And I want to also make a point of personal privilege, if I may, and introduce a colleague of mine. We work together, but he is serving Texas in the state legislature. His name is Justin Rodriguez. He is the state representative from San Antonio, but he is also on the Appropriations Committee with a focus on the public schools. So he has a real interest in the schools. Justin Rodriguez, come out here. Well, this is always a special time of the year when we come to the end of the summer and we are on the verge of starting a new school year. It is always a time of great hopefulness and expectations. And there's a reason for that. Because we as a country believe in education. It is our civic faith. And think of it. Education really is an act of faith. What would be the purpose of investing in the school buildings and the staffing and the preparation and all of the other things that we invest in unless we believe we were creating a better future? So I commend you, before anything else, all of you, administrators, staff, coaches, especially teachers, for that faith in our country, in our future, in our children. Somebody told me the other day, the children may be only 20% of the population, but they're 100% of the future. And this is about the future. As a country, we've always believed in education. And the best example I can give you is from the darkest moment in American history. What do you think that darkest moment might have been? Was it the Depression, when 30% of the people of the country were out of work? No. Was it the dark days of World War II after the bombing at Pearl Harbor? No. Was it the Great Recession that we had in 2008? No. Was it some of the political problems we're confronting today? No. The darkest moment in American history, without a doubt, was in the Civil War. The country threatened to tear itself apart. State against state, family against family, region against region, brother against brother. More people were lost in American history than in any other conflict that we've had, because everybody who died on both sides of that war was an American. And yet, in the depths of that war, when it was not clear the country would even hold together, the Congress of the United States passed a piece of legislation called the Morrill Act. And it was the first investment of public funds in public education. It set up the system of publicly supported higher education, because the Congress knew, even in the midst of this war, when it ended, we would have to make literate the population all across America. We would have to build dams and roads, and we would need engineers trained to do that. We would need people to invest in the farming system and feed the nation, and they would need an education to do it. So teachers and engineers and agronomists and animal husbanders, that's what they invested in building the country. Darkest moment in American history, and the country understood the role of education in building the future. Today we demonstrate that sense of optimism, that sense of faith again. As I say, public education is an act of faith, and it's best understood in terms of the investments that are made in education. And I mean right here in the Manor ISD, as the superintendent and the board chair explained a moment ago, decisions are made constantly to continue to enhance the Manor School District. Just think about it. The new physical plant. What an immensely attractive building and complex this is. One of the most advanced educational buildings in the country. And that's an investment. And other investments in the physical plant across the school district. The staffing, in terms of new teachers and new staffing to keep up with the growth that is happening here in Manor. The investment in trying to get it right in terms of the teacher and student ratio and smaller classes. Issues of laboratories and computers and the most modern equipment to support the teaching process. All of these are investments. The investments in innovation and education that have drawn worldwide attention to this school district, like the New Tech High School, that brought President Obama here to celebrate what is possible in American education. The investment in extracurriculars, in coaching and athletic facilities, all of which go to build character in the students. The investment, which I'm so proud to see, in the reality of American diversity. We're reaching out to every ethnic group and saying every student in America deserves the best we can afford in education. And that's very visible here. That's very, very visible here. And you are leading America in that respect. Do you realize that for the first time in American history, last September, more children of color entered the first grade than the traditional American population? In other words, the majority in the first grade last year across America was children of color. And that means this year it's the first and second grade. And next year it'll be the first and second and third grade. And it goes right on through until we realize that the American system of education really must demonstrate a respect and an understanding and ways to teach best practices in reaching out to a diverse country. Because, as I said, this is the future, and Manor is showing how we're going to get it done. This is also an investment in leadership. So this district has made a major commitment to training the best principals that any school district can have. And I'll tell you, when I go to a school, and I've been into schools all over the country, when I go into a school, I can tell you what the esprit de corps is. I can tell you what the quality of the physical plant is, and when I see excellence, I know there is an excellent principal on the job. Critical position. most critical position in the way we deliver higher education in our country. Could I ask the principals here to please stand and let's just say thanks to the leadership of our principals at every school. And I think on a day like today, we want to thank the superintendent, who has been the superintendent in a number of different school systems, and I think you're lucky to have Dr. Avery as the superintendent here at the Manor ISD. And his staff, the Central District staff, and the Central District people who are over here as well. Let's hear it for them. Can't run a school district without them. And we need to acknowledge on a day like today the governance of the Board of Trustees. They do work hard. They have their regular jobs. They're not paid to be school district board members. It's one of the most thankless jobs in American public service, but it's clear in Manor you have a great school district and they're doing a good job. Thank you, folks. But mostly, I want to stop and I want to say thank you to those people who have one of the most respected titles in America, and that is teacher. The teachers. Teachers. There is in my experience, nobody in America who works harder than a classroom teacher. I don't know who that is. I mean, I've been in all kinds of white-collar jobs, political, business, and a business person in the middle of the day, if you want to have a cup of coffee, well, just walk over and get it for yourself. If you want to take a little break, do it. If you want to step outside for a minute, take a telephone call, you can do it. But nobody has 25 pairs of eyes fixated on them from the beginning of the day to the end of the day with almost no breaks in between, like a classroom teacher. Nobody has to concentrate all day long on the lesson that they prepared, deliver it with skill. One of the most difficult transactions that occurs in human existence is taking knowledge that exists in one brain and figuring out how to repackage it, re-articulate it with energy and persuasiveness so it goes into another human brain all day long from August to May. That's a big job, and we say thank you for that job. I read a study once that described the accomplishments of this distinguished group. They had identified a distinguished group of diplomats, generals from the army, from the military, political leaders, business leaders, and they were attempting to identify what was the common traits of this group. They thought, well, maybe they were all Eagle Scouts. No, that wasn't it. Well, maybe they all were excelled in college. No, that wasn't it. Maybe they all were achievers in sports. No, that wasn't it. You know what the single common denominator of those most accomplished people in American life was? It was, they said, the intervention of a teacher who took an interest in them. That was the common denominator of American achievement. And every single one of you can be that person in some student's life. And some of you will be that person in many students' lives. So thank you very much in advance for what you do as teachers. And it matters. It matters and people notice. I heard a story once of a teacher who was very depressed, but she just didn't seem to be making much headway in the classroom. She was tired, she was disappointed. And her friend said, well, what's the problem? And she said, well, nobody cares. Nobody knows what I'm doing. And her friend said, come on. You know, your students know, And God knows, and that's not a bad audience. So, thank you to everyone involved in the education process, everyone who's investing and helping create the future. On a day like this, we stop and take a moment to recommit to this noble cause in which we're involved, to be proud of this endeavor of creating quality education. Over the course of this next year, let's remember that the work you do in these schools is a signal to the people of this region, of Manor and the entire school district, giving them a reason to support public education. There's all kinds of criticism today and comparisons to other systems, private systems, charter systems, everything else, but the majority of children in America are still going to be educated in public schools like this. And we need to keep up support for the public schools. And the best way to build that support is to create excellence. Excellence coming out of schools like this. So I encourage you to innovate, to pioneer, to imagine, to show initiative, and to keep public education foremost and relevant in American society. One of the ways we do that is we focus on the students. Now I know everybody says we focus on the students come first. It's the mantra we all use who are involved in education, whether career administrators or school board members, teachers, and it's almost a cliche. But my friends, it is also the truth. All of this is about the students. Let's focus on the students, put them number one. It's the only way, it is our purpose, it's what we do. Let's make a better life for the students by what we do in our classrooms and the quality of education we bring to them. And let's remember to involve the parents. Very, very important. There's what happens in the classroom, there's what happens in the home. If we can engage the parents as being part of the process of education, and let's be frank, many of the parents are poor people in a district like this, come from different ethnic backgrounds. Some of them come from countries where education is not rewarded in the same way. So let's figure out how to get inside their heads and say to them, we need you involved in the education of your children. Together, we'll build a great educational future. So finally, let me say, in the final analysis, this gets very personal. Personal in the sense that it's about what's in your heart as you set off on this new school year. It's about what attitude you bring to it. It's very personal. Keep yourself energized. Keep yourself strong. Not cynical, but hopeful. Not tired, but energetic. Not skeptical, but positive. Not pessimistic, but optimistic. Not ground down by the traditional bureaucracy of the public schools generally, but creative and energized. We thank you for your personal effort, all of you. We are entrusting to you as a society our most precious treasure, our children. We are entrusting our future, literally the future of our country. So I once heard the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, the church that was Dr. King's church and his father's church before him, say, if you want to reach immortality, and there's a piece of every one of us that wants to make a difference in the long run, leave a legacy, leave a name. If you want to reach immortality in your own role in our society, in our history, each one of you personally, if you want to reach immortality, then pick causes that are bigger than yourself. And pick causes that will last beyond your time. Well, you in this room have already picked a cause, and it is American public education as a profession that's worthy of your life energy. We respect you for it, we admire you for it, we appreciate you, we support you, and we thank you. Good luck, and God bless in the year ahead. Thank you very much.